Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Miriam and I talk about all kinds of quilting and sewing related things here on YouTube. And I am super excited about this tutorial today, you guys. So I'm just gonna hop right into it, okay? We are going to do some quilting today. Finally, another quilting tutorial, right? So this design is really cool. It is, you probably saw it in the thumbnail. I'll give a little sneak peek in the thumbnail of the video, but this design looks way more complicated than it actually is. When I first attempted it, I was very nervous about doing it, but when I kind of got it figured out how to do it, it's so easy and it's so much fun to do. You can do it on your domestic sewing machine. You do not need a long arm to do it. You don't need a fancy computer program to do it. You just need a domestic sewing machine that can do a straight stitch and that you can do free motion quilting on. And that's it. That's all you need. You combine the two. It looks really cool, looks very fancy, and it's so much fun to do. So we are going to jump into the tutorial. I want you to stop what you're doing. If you can. If you can't, that's okay. Do this later, but grab some scrap fabric. We're not going to do a huge project. We're just going to learn how to do this technique, okay? So I am going to use just a couple of fat quarters that I have. These are ones that I got at Joann's years ago that have just been sitting in my stash. So I'm going to use a couple of fat quarters, one for the top and one for the back. And then I have some scrap batting also that I'm going to use. So I'm going to go ahead and get these opened and I'm going to press them and make my little mini quilt sandwich. You can do the same, but I really want to encourage you to just go for it. Just go for it with quilting. I know a lot of people are very intimidated by trying to quilt their own quilts. A lot of people send their quilts out to a long armer, which there is nothing wrong with that. And they do beautiful work. But I try to encourage everyone to try to quilt at least one of your own quilts and just see how you like it. And don't attempt anything too complicated for your first try, but do something simple or do some practice on some small projects like this, right? So I'm getting my fat quarters all unbundled. Obviously, they're very creased. They have been in this position for years. So I'm going to take these over to my ironing board really quick and press them so I get all those creases out. And then I will meet you right back here in, well, for you it'll be like 2 seconds, but for me it'll be a couple minutes. But I'm going to press these and then I'm going to show you how to do really cool quilting. I'm super excited about it. And I really hope you enjoy it because it's so much fun. I'll be right back. Here, I have got my little quilt sandwich made. It's small. It's just 2 fat quarters. Just move the fabric out a little bit here. So the reason why I'm using these specific fat quarters is because I want you to see what the design looks like on a solid and then what the design will look like on a print. Okay, and I just used some scrap batting for the inside, and because we all know we've all got random scraps of batting sitting around, right? And it's kind of like, what are we supposed to do with it? So I need my little quilt sandwich for this. I'm going to use a hero marker. This is a hero marker. It's just a piece of plastic that has kind of an edge on it that I use to crease the fabric to put lines into it. You could also use a marking pen if you would like to use that, or whatever else you like to use to mark your quilts. I like a hero marker because I don't have to worry about ink. It's not wasting ink. And yeah, I've had the same hero marker for, my goodness, probably 6 or 7 years at this point. And it's still sharp enough to make my creases and it works great. So very cost effective. These are great. I will link this in the description box below if you don't have one. I'm also going to use my long 6 by 24 inch ruler to mark my lines. That's all you need. And then obviously your sewing machine, thread, all of that. So before we hop into the actual tutorial. I mentioned scrap batting, and that reminds me of a really fun class that I found on Craftsy. Craftsy is the sponsor of today's video, and if you don't know, Craftsy is your go-to place for all things creative. There's literally thousands of classes on Craftsy with all kinds of art and crafts type videos on there. It's so cool. I love it. It's every time I go on Craftsy, there's something new to be learned, something new to be found. And a new class that they put up not too long ago is called Upcycling Batting by Colleen Tauke. And she goes through 3 different ways that you can use leftover scrap batting. And I think that's really great. That's something that I think a lot of us quilters struggle with. Who doesn't have like a bag or a basket full of batting? I know I do. That class is really great. She goes through 3 different ways to use it, and it's a must watch, I think, for most quilters. Another class that I was super excited to find and I'm really looking forward to watch is called Learn Creative Quilting Techniques like String Quilts, Crazy Quilts, Foundation Paper Piecing, and more with Christy Smith. This class looks like so much fun. She's going to go through how to use different foundation techniques to make different types of quilts. This really goes in depth into all the different types of creative techniques that she teaches. And I just think it looks really, really fun. And I'm really looking forward to watching that. If you would be interested in trying Craftsy, they've given me a really good discount for you guys. So the first 1,000 people to use either my link in the description box or this handy dandy QR code here, you just scan it with your camera on your phone. If you use those and you are a new member, you will get a full year of their premium membership for $1.49 for a year. That is a crazy good deal. Really great. There's so many classes on there on so many different subjects. So it's kind of a no-brainer to try it, right? You never know. You might find even a new hobby that you didn't know you were going to be interested in until you find it on Craftsy, right? So I would love for you to try it out and let me know if you try it out because it's a lot of fun. Thank you so much to Craftsy for sponsoring this video. And let's jump into this tutorial, shall we? This technique I actually used to quilt a quilt for my dad for Christmas in 2024. So I have been waiting to teach this technique for that long, for 5 months. Yeah, 5 months. I've been just waiting for a time and for the perfect moment to teach this technique. And I think this is it. I'm in my studio now and I'm really excited to teach it. So what I am going to do is I am going to move the camera slightly and point it down so you can see what I'm doing. This is our piece. I'm actually going to flip it over onto the other side so you can see the creases a little easier on that solid side. And this technique can be used for any size quilt. We're just doing it on a smaller practice piece just to kind of give you a feel for it. And this is how I would like you to practice this technique. I would not jump directly into a big project unless you're pretty confident in your quilting skills already. So just practice with a small piece, grab a couple of fat quarters you don't care about too much, and put them together in a little quilt sandwich. And then we are going to first draw our lines to do our straight line quilting. So what we do is we do straight line quilting first, straight line quilt the entire piece, and then we go in with some free motion to create this really cool design, okay? I am going to get my straight ruler here, and I'm going to line up. On your straight ruler, you should have a 45-degree angle line. Here's mine. And I'm going to line that line up with the bottom edge of the fabric. And that's going to help me make a 45-degree line. And you can do this wherever. I kind of just start near the middle of the piece, but you can do it by the edge. You can do whatever. And this is totally customizable too. So I will tell you what I mean once I get this first line marked. So I am just marking that with the hero marker. As you saw, I just marked it. And now I have a crease that goes across my fabric. I can see it. I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up, but there is a crease marked there. Now, using this crease that I just marked, I'm going to use this as a guide. And I think I personally want my lines to be 2 inches apart. This is where you can really customize it, right? So you can have your lines as far apart or as close together as you want. It just kind of depends on the look that you want to go for. So I want mine 2 inches apart. So that means I am going to line up my 2-inch line on my ruler with that line that I just marked, okay? And make sure it's all lined up, and then I just mark it. Make sure that your ruler does not shift like mine just did, because you want this to be pretty accurate. If you got to move it down, just slide it down and make sure the line is still lined up with your guideline. And there we go. Now I have my second line marked. And now I'm just going to continue doing that with my lines being 2 inches apart. And if you're fairly new to my channel, I have done a lot of quilting tutorials to be able to use with your domestic sewing machine. So if you would like to check out my playlist, I have a full playlist of all kinds of quilting techniques. And you can check that out. I will link that in the description box below. So when you're done watching this video, you can go check out the playlist where I have a lot. I must have over a dozen videos in that playlist by now, I would think. But I'm just going to continue marking. So I have all of my lines going in that direction. There you can see it really well there. Now we need to mark them going in the other direction, right? So I'm going to get my ruler and I'm going to find the 45-degree angle again and line it up with the bottom. But now I want my lines to be crisscrossing. So I'm just going to start mine kind of in this corner. You can start it anywhere, but I don't know, I always just started in the corner. Line up the 45-degree line on your ruler with the bottom fabric. And now my lines are going through first lines like that. And then again, I want the lines to be 2 inches apart. So I just line up my 2-inch line. It is thundering out. I hope the camera's not picking that up. But it's our 2-inch line. And I'm just going to continue doing this exact same thing. So 2 inches from that last line. We use it as a guide. And I'm going to finish doing this. Sometimes this quilting is called cross hatching. So if you ever want to look up ideas for this type of quilting, you would search crosshatch. All right, now it is marked and that's what it'll look like. Pretty cool, huh? All right, now we get to sew, which is the fun part. So we're at the sewing machine now, ready to sew, and we are going to do the straight line quilting first, right? So I don't need to have my free motion quilting foot on yet. I'm just using my regular 1/4-inch seam allowance foot, which is, you know, just the foot that I always have on here. If you are working with a larger piece, I would definitely recommend using a walking foot, because the walking foot helps feed the layers of the quilt through evenly, and it makes it a little easier for you when you're doing straight line quilting. So if you're doing anything bigger than, I mean, really anything bigger than like a baby quilt, a walking foot does make a difference. So if your sewing machine came with one, or if you're able to buy one, that would help. But since I'm doing such a small piece, I'm just going to use my regular foot. I have my stitch length set to 3. That's just what stitch length I use for piecing as well. So you can kind of decide what you like. Your stitch length can kind of be between 2 and 3. Just kind of whatever you decide you like. This is all the experimental stage, right? So you figure out what you like, what your machine likes to do. Everybody's machine is different, and everybody uses different thread and all of that. So I use Coats & Clark machine quilting thread. It's a 30 weight thread. It's a bit thicker. And I just really, really like it. My machine really likes it. Works really well. And my wallet also likes it because it's not super expensive like other quilting threads. So that's what I'm using, and that's what I will use for all of my quilting today, okay? Let's get started. So basically, I am just going to stitch on all of those lines that I just marked. You can go as fast or as slow as you want. You do not have to go fast. Okay, I think there's kind of a misconception that when you're doing quilting, that has to be done quickly, because long arm quilting machines go very fast, but they go very fast because they can, right? But if you're using a domestic, you can go nice and slow, okay? And especially if you're just starting out, I would not go super fast because you can kind of lose control of where you're going. Even if you're just doing straight lines, you can kind of lose control of where you're going. If you've ever tried stitching the ditch, you know what I'm talking about. So we are going to start with just quilting. I'm going to start kind of in the middle area somewhere, but I start on the edge, but I'm going to start on a center line, not one that's close to either corner, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to start, and I'm stitching right on that crease line. I'll try to get the camera in where you can see what I'm doing. And here we go. See, that's kind of a medium speed. You can go slow. Or you can go fast if you're able to go fast. When you're quilting, pretty much when you're doing any kind of quilting, either straight line or free motion, you should have both of your hands kind of on either side of the needle and just kind of guiding the fabric, right? When you're doing free motion, there's definitely a lot more that you're doing with your hands, but with straight line, you're still guiding it through and making sure that it doesn't kind of go all over the place, right? So there's my first line quilted, and I am just going to continue doing this across the entire thing and in both directions. So we've got quite a bit of sewing here to do. I will say you want these lines to be quite accurate, because then that's going to help the free motion quilting be more accurate and look very, very, very good. So you definitely want to take your time on the straight lines. Hand in hand, building castles out of sand, reaching for the grand. there we have our quilting done. Doesn't that look cool? Now, honestly, if this is your first time quilting and you want to just stop here and call it a day, you totally can do that. You can just be done and that can be it. And you just made a beautiful piece. I mean, you could use this as a centerpiece for a table. It's kind of large to be a placemat, but you could have it be a placemat. I'm actually probably going to use mine as a piece that goes under my sewing machine, just so it has a little something under there protecting the feet of the sewing machine and all that. But yeah, so that's what we've got done so far. Now we get to add the fun free motion quilting onto this. I think this is also sometimes called grid quilting. I certainly did not come up with this design. This is just something that I've seen before and I wanted to figure out how to do it. So I figured out how to do it. So I am going to now switch out my sewing machine feet. So when you are doing free motion quilting, there's a few things that you need to do to your machine to make it easier to do free motion quilting. One of them is lowering the feed dogs if you're able to. So then you're in complete control of the fabric. You don't have the feed dogs working against you if you're trying to move it in a certain direction. And for this specific tutorial, I definitely need my feed dogs down. So either lower your feed dogs, or some sewing machines come with a little cover that go over the feed dogs and it does the exact same thing. You want to do that. If you have speed control on your machine, I would definitely slow the speed down. I slow the speed down for free motion quilting. I like to go fairly slow for my free motion. I also like to turn my stitch length down. I know lowering the feed dogs kind of does the same thing, but it's just habit. It's what I do. And so yeah, so I turn my stitch length down to 0. And then the last thing I need to do is switch out my foot. So I need to get my free motion quilting foot. So a free motion quilting foot is also sometimes called a darning foot. They come in different varieties depending on what you're using the foot for. So the foot that I always use is one that came with my machine. Ooh, it's a little dusty, a little linty. But this is what my foot looks like. There's also ones that have like an open toe where it's kind of like a U shape. Those are really nice. And there's also ones, I think I have one, that you use specifically with rulers. So if you want to do ruler free motion quilting, you have to get one of those. Yep. So that looks like this. And if you look closely, the foot has kind of a tall lip, and that butts up against a ruler and helps you do different designs on a ruler. But I'm not using a ruler, so I don't need that one. I need just my regular free motion foot and my screwdriver. So I'm just going to switch this out real quick. I am planning in the near future to do a video on all kinds of tips and tricks for free motion quilting. So if you have any questions, maybe I'll gather up a bunch of questions and then answer them kind of in like a question and answer style video. But if you have any questions about free motion quilting, anything, please leave them in the comments below and I will be making a video soon answering those questions, okay? So I would love to hear from you and kind of be able to help in any way that I can with free motion quilting. So I'm just gonna set this off to the side. All right, this is the fun part. Actually, you know what? We're gonna do a little practice first, just to help you kind of get that mind-hand connection, okay? So before we even stitch onto our piece that we just stitched, right? The straight lines, that was pretty easy. I want you to practice a little bit with the free motion quilting part, okay? So let me grab, I have a notebook out here and I'll show you what I mean. So here's the notebook. Let's just pretend that this is our quilt top, right? So I am just going to very not prettily draw some lines here just to kind of give you an idea So I just drew a rectangle and now I'm just drawing 45-degree lines. So I'm basically doing the exact same thing we did with the fabric, just on paper. Just to kind of help you visualize what we are doing here. And I think it would be a really great idea if you did this too. Help you practice and kind of understand the movements that we're going to be doing with the free motion quilting. All right, so now we're going to practice our free motion movements. Let me make sure that you can see this. That looks a lot better. So I just drew a rectangle and then I just did diagonal crosshatch lines, just like we did for our straight line quilting, right? Now for our free motion, we are going to turn our quilt so the lines are facing us, okay? We are going to start up here in a corner and we're going to do a curve like that. And then we're going to come through this line and we're going to curve like that. And then go through the next line on the right and curve. Next line on the left and curve. And you do that all the way down. And I know at first it looks a little weird, okay? I will admit at first it looks a little weird, a little scary. Then when you get to the bottom, we're going to come back up and do the same thing. So we're going to curve and curve. And you want your curves to be about the same size, okay? You don't have to be super picky with it, but they do need to be about the same size. And up and curve. And this is how you will be stitching. You just go up and down. And you just take it nice and slow. Definitely way slower than straight line quilting. I go very slow when I do this because I want it to look good, right? And then we stop. Then we go on to the next line and we do the exact same thing. So we're going to curve and go down and curve on the other side of the line and then curve and curve. And you just keep on doing that. And as you go, you really get a feel for it and it feels a lot more natural. When you first start, it's going to feel a little funky. And then you come back up. Just like that. Keep on going. And then you just keep on doing that same thing all the way across. Back up. Like that. Here, let me finish this really quick and then you kind of see it come together when you get the lines going one way, when you get that done, and then when you rotate to do the other lines that are going the other way, then you really see it come together and it looks so cool. There's that. Let's just do these real quick. You could do a couple practice sandwiches like this and kind of figure out what size loop you like. If you like kind of a smaller loop or if you like a larger loop. This is supposed to be fun, okay? Just have fun with it and see what you like and what feels the best to you, right? So that's what it looks like when you've done one side. That actually looks pretty cool just like that, right? But then we're going to rotate it. And this is the exact same thing you will do with your quilt. You rotate it and then you start and you do the exact same thing. So you come down on a line, curve, and curve on the other side, and curve on the right, curve on the left. Curve on the right, curve on the left. And you're going to start seeing the design come together. And when you reach the bottom, you just come back up. And you'll start seeing the design coming together. Like that. You just keep on going. And see? You can kind of see the design coming together now. Pretty cool. So you're just going to keep on doing that. And this is really good practice. You might feel a little silly, but I've said this before. This really does help kind of get your brain and your hands used to the movement of how you want your stitches to go. So this really is very important to do this practice. Go up and down. And I love how this just combines the lines, the straight lines, with curves. So this design would look good on so many different quilts. You know. And there you can really see the design come together. It kind of reminds me of orange peels, but it's with stitching instead of fabric. I'm just gonna keep on going. We're almost done. All right. And that is what the quilting will look like. How crazy is that? That we're gonna go from this to that, right? Really cool. So now let's go practice actually stitching onto our quilt, okay? You can do it. I believe in you, okay? Let's do it. We're gonna tackle this thing, right? We are gonna do it. We can do it. We are gonna start up here at the top. You literally can start wherever you want. It just needs to be on the edge somewhere. Yeah, I'm just gonna start up here. Kind of in the center-ish, kinda, sorta. And I am gonna start up here. Let's see if I can get you a little closer. Zoom you in. All right. So I'm gonna start right here, and I'm gonna go left, and then to the right, and then to the left of the line, and to the right. And I'm just gonna continue that down. And you will watch, you'll be able to see how slow I go. And yeah, you just want to take it really nice and slow. That is definitely key. You can even, if you want, you can even stop where the lines intersect. You can completely stop the needle if that helps you. So you don't kind of feel like you have to, oh, I gotta keep going. Just focus on making the like half moon curve and then stop. And then the half moon curve and then stop. And then the half moon curve and then stop, okay? You don't have to try to, right when you're beginning, you don't have to try to, try to zigzag through, right? So let's go ahead and do some stitches, okay? And stop. Next. And stop. The more confident you get making those curves, the more you'll be open to just continuing going instead of stopping there at that intersection. And with free motion quilting, whenever you're free motion quilting, no matter what design you're doing, if you need to move your hands, stop stitching. It will save you heartache and jumped stitches and kind of messy lines, okay? So if you have to adjust your hands, just stop stitching. All right, I have reached the end. Now I'm gonna go back up and do the same thing, just on the other sides of the line. Now, if you are uncomfortable going backwards with your stitches, just rotate it. Just rotate this and go, okay? But I encourage you to try just going backwards, because it's just good to kind of learn that movement and learn that ability, right? But if you don't want to, you literally can just rotate it with your needle down and just do the exact same thing you just did. But I am going to go backwards because I like to push myself to do things that are a little more complicated.
Hey, darling, can I tell you what's been on my mind? Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city life. Hey, darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city.
And look at that. Look at that. We got our first line done. And how cool does that look? Pretty cool, huh? That's what it looks like on the back. Can't see it as well because it's a print. But yeah, that's how we do it. Let's do another one, okay? I'll do it in real time just so you can kind of watch and get a feel for it with me. But probably the most important thing that I can encourage you with is when you are when you're doing the curve, you really want to make sure you're hitting that intersection right at the intersection where those lines meet. That's what makes the difference between it looking kind of cool and great, right? So really focus on getting that curve brought back to the intersection smoothly.
Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday. Baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand. Hey, darling, I love it when it's me and you on the road with a couple of tunes in a car for two. Hey, darling, you know we're gonna have a really good time, driving in the middle of the night when the stars are bright. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday. Baby, don't you understand?
Okay, and there we've got another line. Pretty cool. So I am going to go ahead and I think I'm going to go ahead and quilt all the rest of these, of the lines that are going vertically, and then I will check back in with you when we're going horizontally, and then we will see the design coming together, okay? I've gotten lots of questions about the music that I use in my videos. If you're interested, I created a playlist of songs that I use in my videos. So if you want to check those out, that playlist will be linked in the description box below as well, okay?
Yeah, we only get one life, I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand. Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday. Baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand. Yeah, we only get one life. I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand. Sometimes we act like a fool, not aware we're troublemakers. Sometimes we try to be cool, not being givers, only takers. Stop for a minute, stop and breathe.
All right, you guys. How do I unzoom this? All right, look at that. We've got half of it done. It looks so pretty, but it's gonna look even prettier. So this is what the back looks like. You really can't see it super well, but I kind of like that kind of subtle look on there. You're gonna be able to see it once we have the second set of rows done. So now, I mean, it's more of the same, right? It's just, you really start seeing the design come together. So that's why we're going to do this together, okay? So I'm going to start, again, somewhere close to the center. And we're going to do the exact same thing we were doing. So the curving down, stop at the intersection if you need to stop at the intersection, and all of that, okay? Zoom you in here so you'll be able to see the design coming together. A couple of tips I will give. When you are coming into the intersection, you certainly want to make sure that you're hitting it right there at that center spot. And also you want to make sure that you're not stitching through the loops that we already did. Okay, so as long as you avoid that and try to keep your curves about the same size all the way down, it's going to look phenomenal, okay? And I will show you that after I've gotten a couple of rows done on here, okay?
Don't get over your head, try to listen instead, won't you? Think for a minute, who you wanna be for a minute. Don't get over your head, you're like everyone else, aren't you? You could gain from being a bit nicer, know when to talk and when to shut your mouth.
Look how cool this looks. We've just got a small section done so far, but how gorgeous is that? I love how it looks like a flower. Isn't that so pretty? Ugh, I'm so in love with this design. I want to do this on like all of my quilts now because it's just so pretty and it looks so stinking fancy, but it's so easy. When you break it down into the steps, it is so easy. It'll take you some practice. It will. But once you get it down, my goodness, this is so cool. I mean, come on. That is so cool. All right. I am going to finish up quilting this. Then I will wrap up the video. We'll chit chat a little bit. And I will see you in a few minutes, okay?
Try to open up your mind sometimes. You'll be just fine. You'll be just fine.
you guys. Let's unzoom this. Oop, wrong way. Unzoom. Let's move this up a little bit so you can. All right. So look at that. Check that out. Isn't this gorgeous? Oh my goodness. I am so in love with this. Let me lay it on the table so you can get a really good look at it. Isn't that gorgeous? I mean, it looks so fancy. I'm just astounded that it looks so good. And I just did that. And it took, let's see, what time is it? It took maybe an hour and a half to do that. All of it from start to finish. Not bad. That's what the back looks like. It adds a really fun texture. It feels cool. And it's just, it feels nice and like puffy in between the little petal looking things. Like in this area, it's very puffy. I feel like this would look even cooler on like a thicker batting, like a wool batting or something. This would look so cool. So, oh my goodness. I just love this so much. Thank you so much for joining me for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you give it a try. It's so much fun, you guys. It's so much fun and a lot easier than you might think, right? When we break it down into those steps, really not too bad, right? Thank you so much to Craftsy again for sponsoring this video. Don't forget, use my link to get that a full year for $1.49. Really great deal. And just thank you so much again for watching this video. Please let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you try this. And I hope you have a lot of fun with it, okay? Have a great rest of your day. And I will talk to you very soon, all right? Bye! It is raining out here, and I really hope the microphone is not picking up all of the thunder and the rain. Hopefully not. But yeah, I'm having so much fun. It's so fun to be back actually doing a quilting tutorial. They're seriously my favorite thing to record.
Stop and breathe for a minute. Long it over your head.